Wait for it. It's Kobe Rollins here, yet another video, and today, after a pause and a long-awaited, suspenseful intro, it's Rollins versus Orton. Now, the reason why that pause was for, to give it further meaning, was because Randy Orton waited a long time to uncover his masterful plan that exceeded any rocket ship formula in order to create this and combine the diameter of the process of this. Exactly, it's complicated. But Randy Orton's plan was so complicated that nobody had an idea that he was going to turn. Like, it was completely, nobody could see it coming. And I hope that you sense my sarcasm there, because everybody knew Randy Orton's face turn was coming, but it took him about around, I'd say, 3 weeks to do it. Maybe 4. It took him around 3 to 4 weeks to uncover his masterful plan that, you know, he was going to join the Authority, and by getting in the Authority, he would get them on their heels thinking that he would be on their side, but in actuality, he wasn't. I mean, come on. I mean, that's rocket science right there. You can't encrypt a code or a plan like that. There's just no way. You know, but anyway, I'm going to get into the what's the story behind this match and who I think is going to win, etc. I know these videos will not be as popular as a regular topical video or something like that. I understand that, but to get everybody hyped up for WrestleMania 31, I want to do a simple predictions for every match, because I don't want to make a video around 60 minutes long, to pretty much tell you that this person's going to win, this person's going to win. I'm just going to do a separate video, around 7 minutes per average, average per length, I guess you could say. And, I mean, that's pretty much all you're really going to get when it comes to that. So let's go ahead and get into it. We have Seth Rollins, Mr. Money in the Bank, small penis himself, Seth Rollins, versus Randall Keith Orton, the baby oil, raging ring boner man himself, Randall Keith Orton. And they're both going to lock horns at WrestleMania 31 at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California, in the Silicon Valley, in the Bay Area. You know, this match is going to be possibly behind the ladder match a show stealer. Now, I could be surprised. Maybe the ladder match does not deliver. Maybe it's too clunky. Maybe it's just not given a lot of time. With that said, maybe if it does not deliver, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be wrong with that statement, but I know the ladder match is going to deliver and be a show stealer, because, WWE is pretty much billed it as the show stealer of WrestleMania 31. Pretty much telling you that they're going to say, oh, Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar is going to be bad, or the other matches might be bad. So we're going to give you this big ladder match, to fulfill that. But the second best match on the card, or possibly that can overshine if given the right amount of time, can be Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins. Now, this match reminds me so much of Randy Orton versus CM Punk WrestleMania 27. I think it's going to be a good, well-built feud, but it's going to be talked about, but it's not going to be the best match on the show, because at WrestleMania 27, Taker versus Triple H was the best match on the show. Just like this year, I think the ladder match will be the best match on the show. But if not, like I said before, Orton and Rollins is definitely going to steal the show. So basically, back in November, before Survivor Series, Orton was pretty much butting heads with the man himself by the name of Seth Rollins and the Authority. He didn't like Seth Rollins from the get-go, from July, around when Rollins got into the Authority. So that pretty much soured Orton, and Orton pretty much said, you know what, I'm done with this. We're gonna have a match tonight, Triple H said, and you guys are gonna get this out of your system before Survivor Series, because that was the time around the Authority versus Team Cena build and stuff like that. So basically, Orton's got really, trying to punt kick Seth Rollins, and then Kane got involved in JJ Security, and Triple H said end it, and Rollins curb stomped Orton, I believe at least 3 times. It was a vicious beatdown. It told a really good story, and then pretty much everybody was like, oh, he's gonna return to Survivor Series. It's in St. Louis. That makes a lot of sense. Oh, he's gonna return to TLCs. That didn't happen. He's going to return to the Royal Rumble and cost Rollins match. Didn't happen. We're going to return to the Royal Rumble match. That didn't happen. At Fastlane, he finally returns and stuff like that. And then the next night on Raw, the Authority says you should be back and come home and join the Authority and we can be stronger than ever. And Rollins is pretty much against that. And then Rollins comes around on the idea after, Orton pretty much proves his loyalty because he didn't punt kick Rollins in a very awkward ending to Raw. And then he didn't do it again for the second week, when Jon Stewart came by. And Jon Stewart did an excellent job with Seth Rollins. It's just, it's just how it's been kind of building up. And Orton finally turned, and gave Seth Rollins the middle finger on the apron. A very weird, normally a person steps down, but Orton just stood there and at least flicked them off for probably about 30 seconds. I could be wrong, maybe 20 seconds, but it was a pretty long time. And then Roman Reigns won the match. And the funny thing is that Roman Reigns is a plot device for this feud. If you would have thought about it in probably the 4 out of the 6 weeks of build-up towards WrestleMania 31, you would have thought this match, if it was not for the title, would have been the main event. Rollins versus Orton was main event because it was featured as the main event. Rollins was featured in the middle, the beginning, the middle, and the end of the show. He was in the main event. He was in the middle of the show. He was in the beginning of the show. Case in point, was talking about Jon Stewart in the middle of Raw, in the beginning of Raw. Was in the second hour segment of Raw with Jon Stewart. Then in the third hour of Raw, I believe he was facing Roman Reigns. So, again, the man was built up very well, but this feud could have been so much more, could have had more to do with just Rollins and Orton. And not saying but I just think they could have done it where Orton was white hot with the RKO out of nowhere vines, and he could have come back at Fastlane, but then they pretty much just killed his momentum and said, you know what, we'll just stick you back with the Authority, and then the fans would be like, oh, and they'll be just waiting in anticipation, and that really didn't happen. We were just kind of biding our time. We were just getting sick, of Randy Orton being, just kind of playing towards the Authority, and he, it didn't come out the way it should have been, and it's just, I'm watching WrestleMania 27 right now, and right now Cole and Lawler is on, and it's really funny to watch, because it's brutally bad, and Jack Swagger does push-ups, and so Stone Cold Steve Austin comes down, you hear his music, and Swagger's facial reaction is outstanding. And I'm just watching it, and it's hard not to laugh. So if you see me kind of peeking, that's what I'm looking at. Who knew Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler would get a mention on this prediction? But anyway, again, this match I expected to be good. The build to it was okay. Nothing spectacular. I think it could have been a little bit better. But I think Rollins is definitely going to shine throughout this match. I could see Orton winning, and if Orton wins, I believe Rollins will win. The championship at the end of WrestleMania 31, but who knows? Honestly, the best route to go, because Orton could win to bring him back as a strong babyface, and to maybe go down the line and face some of the company's top heels, possibly Brock Lesnar, or if they're going to go the route that I think they are with a double switch, maybe Roman Reigns, possibly. Have Randy Orton be built up pretty well, and that'd be great. But Rollins could also want to make him look get a good WrestleMania win, make him look really, really strong. Either way, that's my predictions. But on how they could go about it. But if you asked me, I would say my money is on Seth Rollins to win this match. Thank you for watching. Sting vs. Triple H comes tomorrow on Thursday. Have a blessed Wednesday. Have a blessed hump day. And, yeah, I don't have anything funny to say after this, but, yeah, peace out, guys.